Summertime in Europe is the arrangement by which clocks are advanced by 1 hour in spring and moved back in autumn to make the most of seasonal daylight, also called daylight saving time. This is done in all of the countries of Europe except Iceland, Belarus, and Russia. Summertime was first introduced in some countries during the First World War, then largely abandoned with some exceptions, mostly during the Second World War, until the 1960s and 70s when the energy crisis prompted a wide-scale reintroduction. The practice has been fully coordinated across the continent since 1996. The period extends each year from the last Sunday in March at 1 o'clock UTC wet until the last Sunday in October at 1 o'clock UTC. History: summertime was introduced first during the First World War. However, most countries discontinued the practice after the war. It was then restarted in various countries during the Second World War and its immediate aftermath. Again it was widely cancelled by the 1950s, although reintroduced in isolated cases until the late 1960s when the energy crisis began to prompt policymakers to reintroduce the policy across the continent. It has remained in place in most European countries since that time. Historically, the countries of Europe had different practices for observing summer time, but this hindered coordination of transport, communications and movements. Starting in 1981, the European Community began issuing directives requiring member states to legislate particular start and end dates for summertime. Since 1981, each directive has specified a transition time of 1 o'clock UTC and a start date of the last Sunday in March, but the end dates have differed. Successive directives laid down two dates for the end, one on the last Sunday in September applied by the continental member states, and the other on the fourth Sunday in October for the United Kingdom and Ireland. In 1996 the end date was changed to the fourth Sunday in October for all countries. In 1998 the end date was adjusted to be the last Sunday in October. This happened to be the same as the previous rule for 1996 and 1997. The ninth directive, currently in force, has made this permanent. Exact transition dates: European summer time begins at 1 o'clock UTC on the last Sunday in March, March 28, 2010, March 27, 2011, March 25, 2012, March 31, 2013, March 30, 2014, March 29, 2015, March 27, 2016, March 26, 2017, March 25, 2018. The formula used to calculate the beginning of European summer time is, Sunday A4, plus 4, mod 7 March at 1 o'clock UTC, where Y is the year, and a mod B is the remainder of division after truncating A and B to integers. The above formula is valid until 2099. European summer time ends at 1 o'clock UTC on the last Sunday in October, October 31, 2010, October 30, 2011, October 28, 2012, October 27, 2013, October 26, 2014, October 25, 2015, October 30, 2016, October 29, 2017, October 28, 2018. To calculate the end of European summer time, the same formula as the one above is used for October, Sunday A4, plus 1, mod 7 October at 1 o'clock UTC, double summer time. There has been observation of double summer time, Central European midsummer time, British double summer time, countries not using summer time/de facto permanent summer time. There are 3 countries that do not use summer time, and keep the same time all year, but may be thought of as using a form of permanent summer time since they are using time zones which lie to the east of their location under a pure time zone system. Belarus explicitly decided to stay permanently on the former summer time after 2011. The effect of this is to give later sunrises and sunsets during winter than previously. Belarus ended its last summer time switching after moving the clocks forward in spring 2011, and is now observing UTC plus 0300 all year round. The midpoint of Belarus has longitude 28° E. Iceland observes UTC all year round despite being at longitudes which would indicate Arctica 1. Iceland's high latitude means that sunset and sunrise times change by many hours over the year, and the effect of changing the clock by 1 hour would, In comparison, be small. Russia used permanent summertime from 2011 to 2014, but this proved unpopular and it adopted permanent standard time from October 2014 forward. Local observations: in most of Europe the word summer is added to the name of each European time zone during this period, thus, in the UTC plus 1 o'clock time zone, Central European Time becomes Central European Summer Time. Austria-Hungary: Austria-Hungary used summer time during World War I in 1916, 1917 and 1918, similarly as the German Empire. Bulgaria: summer time was introduced in Bulgaria in 1979 by a regulation of the Bulgarian Council of Ministers. Bulgaria observes the European Union rules for summer time. Czech Republic: in the Czech Kingdom, summer time was used in 1916, 1917 and 1918 under the Austro-Hungarian Empire during WWI. In the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, summer time was used since 1940. Indiana, 1940-1941 and 1941-1942, the summer time was kept continuously even during the winter. Czechoslovakia used summer time since 1945 to 1949 and since 1979 up to 1992. In winter 1946-1947, also winter time was used. The Czech Republic used summer time yearly since 1979. Czechoslovakia, Czech Slovakia used summer time in 1916, 1917 and 1918 under the Austro-Hungarian Empire during WWI. Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia used summer time since 1940. Indiana, 1940-1941 and 1941-1942, the summer time was kept continuously even during the winter. The Slovakian state during WWI also used summer time. Czechoslovakia continued to use the summer time since 1945 to 1949. In winter 1946-1947, also winter time was used. Czechoslovakia used summer time since 1979 up to 1992. Czech Republic and Slovak Republic continue to use the summer time. Denmark: although summer time has been observed in Denmark for the past few decades and its observance will continue in accordance with EU orders, a national association against summer time still exists. France: from 1923 until the Second World War, France observed summer time from the last Saturday in March until the first Saturday in October. During the Second World War, France also observed summer time. However, after the war the practice was abandoned. In 1975, summer time was re-implemented because of the oil crisis. Since GMT is France's natural time zone, its use of UTC plus 1 in winter can be seen as a form of daylight saving time in winter, while its use of Central European summer time in summer can be seen as a form of double summer time. France follows EU rules regarding the start and end times and dates for summer time. Germany: summer time was first introduced during World War I by the German Empire in the years 1916 to 1918. After the end of the war and the proclamation of the Weimar Republic in November 1918, summer time ceased to be observed in peacetime. Summer time was reintroduced in 1940, during World War II, in an attempt to save energy for the war economy. After the defeat of Germany, summer time was retained by the occupation powers. In 1945, Berlin in the Soviet occupation zone even observed Central European midsummer time. In 1947, all of Germany switched to midsummer time from May 11 to June 29. After the Federal Republic and the German Democratic Republic were established in 1949, summer time again ceased to be observed in 1950. In 1978, West Germany decided to reintroduce summer time, following the example set by several neighboring states in the aftermath of the 1973 oil crisis. However, it only came into effect in 1980, after West and East Germany reached an agreement to simultaneously observe summer time from the last Sunday in March to the last Sunday in September. Therefore, both German states observed the same time until the German reunification in 1990, after which the reunified Germany retained the laws and thus also the Time Act of West Germany. After 1980, West and East Germany. Since 1991 reunified Germany, Central European Summer Time. Germany follows EU rules regarding the start and end times and dates for summer time. Hungary, summer time was introduced in Hungary first in 1916 and it was observed until 1919. After that summer time was in use between 1941 1949 and 1954 to 1957. Summer time has been in use again since 1980 and follows EU rules. Ireland. In Ireland, summer time, known as Irish Standard Time, is observed during summer. EEST is sometimes mistaken for Irish Summer Time, though this is incorrect. Italy. Summer time in Italy was adopted and abolished several times, being observed from 1916 to 1920 and between 1944 and 1948. A law was approved in 1965 that took effect the following year, and made the application of summer time mandatory in the whole country. Since 1996, it has been coordinated with the European Union. Norway. In Norway, summer time was observed in 1916, 1940 45, and 1959-65. The arrangement was controversial, and in 1965 the Norwegian parliament voted to discontinue the practice. Their neighbour, Sweden, did not use it. However, in 1980 summer time was reintroduced, and since at least 2002 Norway has followed the European Union in this matter. Summer time make little sense in the Scandinavian countries, since during summer, there is already much more daylight than during winter, with the sun rising earlier in the morning and setting very late at the night. Especially north of the polar circle, where the sun never sets in the summer and never rises in the winter, summer time seems redundant. On the other hand, it makes sense to keep the same time in all of the Central European time zone, so even though summer time doesn't add more daylight in the summer so far to the north, it is implemented in Sweden, Norway and Denmark. Sweden and Denmark are EU members and Norway is implementing most EU directives through the EEA treaty, so any directive that is not implemented would also spark possible tensions with the rest of the EU countries. Poland. In Poland, the summer time was observed in the following years: 1919, 1946-1949, 1957-1964, 1977. In the years 1979 to 1995 the last day of summer time was the last Saturday of September. In 1996 it was changed to the last Saturday of October, in order to synchronize with other countries of the EU. Many people in Poland treat the summer time as the proper time and therefore the winter time is perceived as the shifted time. Portugal. In Portugal, summer time was introduced in 1916. In the years 1922, 1923, 1925, 1930, 1933 and from 1967 to 1975 summer time was not applied. For many years the official hour in the Madeira Islands was Lisbon hour -1 and in the Azores Islands was Lisbon hour -2. Today, in the Madeira Islands the official hour is the same of Lisbon and in the Azores Islands is Lisbon hour -1. The start and end times and dates for summer time in Portugal follow EU rules. Romania. Summer time in Romania was originally introduced in 1932. Between 1933 and 1940 summer time started on the first Sunday in April and ended on the first Sunday in October. Summer time was abandoned in 1941 and reintroduced in 1979. Until 1996, with few exceptions, summer time started at the end of March and ended at the end of September. Since 1997, it has started in the last Sunday in March and ended on the last Sunday in October, in accordance with European Union rules. Russia. In Russia, a decree of the Russian Provisional Government introduced summer time on July 1, 1917 and clocks moved 1 hour forward. A decree of the Soviet government led to the abandonment of this system 5 months later. Clocks moved 1 hour back again on December 27. From 1930, decree time had the effect of imposing year-round time zone advances in the Soviet Union. Summer time was reintroduced in the USSR on April 1, 1981, by a decision of the Council of Ministers of the USSR, and its practice continued into post-Soviet times until recently. The changeover dates in Russia were the same as for other European countries, but clocks were moved forward or back at 2 o'clock local time in all zones. Thus in Moscow, summer time commenced at 23 o'clock UTC on the day before the last Sunday in March, and ended at 23 o'clock UTC on the day before the last Sunday in October. On February 8, 2011, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev announced cancellation of biannual daylight switches in Russia in favor of a permanent switch to summer time. An hour was added in March 2011 for the last time, and clocks did not move back again. At the same time, some of Russia's time zones were consolidated. After this reform, many Russian cities have a standard time 2 hours more than would be suggested by their astronomical time. During his 2012 election campaign, Vladimir Putin proposed reintroducing summer time, as there had been complaints about some workers not seeing any daylight during the winter, since the sun had not risen when going to work. According to a report in the International Herald Tribune, the winter of 2011-12 was remembered as the darkest winter on record as a result of the time change. However, Putin later said it would be up to then Prime Minister Medvedev's cabinet to decide how to proceed with a seasonal time shift, and it decided to stay with the 2011 policy. On October 26, 2014, Russia permanently returned to winter time. Slovakia, in Slovakia, formerly part of Czechoslovakia, summer time was with occasional breaks introduced in the early 40s. The annual summer time, however, was only implemented in 1979. After several years, Slovakia has established the rule that summer time begins the last weekend of March and ending on the last weekend of September. Since 1996, summer time has been prolonged about 1 month by means so it lasts until the last weekend in October, in accordance with European Union rules. Slovenia, summer time in Slovenia was introduced on November 16, 1982 when it was one of the Yugoslavia republics. Same law was valid until 1996 when the end of summer time was changed from first Sunday in October to last Sunday in October. In 2006, the European Union standard was adopted and is still used today. Sweden, in Sweden summer time was originally introduced on May 15, 1916. Then it proved unpopular, and on September 30 in the same year, Sweden returned to year-round standard time. The situation continued for more than half a century. On April 6, 1980, Sweden again introduced summer time, and since then summer time has been observed every summer in Sweden. Except for the introduction year 1980, summer time has always started on the last Sunday in March. It ended on the last Sunday in September during the years 1980 to 1995, and ends on the last Sunday in October since 1996, following a unification of start-end dates of summer time within the EU as well as in several European countries than outside the EU. The Transit Authority Vakuumsstrafic changes their clocks at 4 a.m., so that the last tram that leaves around 3:30 actually goes 2:30 on last weekend of October for those who have changed their clocks at the legal time. This in opposite to SL which changes their clocks at the legal time, and runs extra departures during the October transition hour. Switzerland, the last country in Europe to adopt summer time, in 1981, was Switzerland, despite the fact the summer time was rejected in a federal voting in 1977 by 52.1% of voters. Since 1996 Swiss summer time follows EU regulations. It had been in use in 1941 and 1942. Turkey observes the EU rules for both the date and the time of its clock changes. Summer time was introduced in Turkey in 1947, but suspended from 1965 through 1972. Since 1974, Turkey follows European summer time. In 2008, the Turkish Ministry of Energy proposed that Turkey should abolish summer time while at the same time switching to GMT plus 2.5, originally from 2009 onwards, but when this appeared infeasible, to start in 2011. The plan has not been heard of since. For the year 2011, Turkey switched to European summer time at 3 a.m. on Monday 28 March, 1 day later than the rest of Europe, to avoid disrupting the national university entrance examinations held on March 27. Once again, for the year 2014, Turkey switched to European summer time at 3 a.m. on Monday 31 March, 1 day later than the rest of Europe, to avoid disrupting the local elections held on March 30. Ukraine. Summer time was introduced in Ukraine in the early 1980s. From 1981 till 1989 this was Moscow's summer time. After independence Eastern European summer time is being upheld since 1992. On September 20, 2011 the Verkhovna Rada cancelled the return from Eastern European summer time to Eastern European time. This meant Ukraine would have UTC plus 0300 permanently. On October 18, 2011 the Parliament abolished these plans to join further Eastern European time. 295 MPs voted in favour out of 349 registered MPs. United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom local time during this period is known as British Summer Time while local time during the rest of the year is normally referred to as Greenwich Mean Time. More generally British Summer Time is part of Western European Summer Time. Legislation. Summertime Act 1916. Summertime Act 1922. Time Act, 1916. Summertime Act, 1925. Emergency Powers Act, 1939. The Summertime Order 1964. The Summertime Order 1967. Summertime Act 1972. The Summertime Order 1997. The Summertime Order 2002. Since 1996 all clocks in the European Union, of which the UK is a member state, have changed on same dates and at the same time, 1 Greenwich Mean Time. British Summer Time starts, last Sunday in March, British Summer Time ends, last Sunday in October, British Summer Time clocks change at 1 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. See also, Daylight Saving Time in the Americas Euro Greenland, Winter Time Euro 1946/1947, references. Further reading, David Prerau. Saving the Daylight, Why We Put the Clocks Forward. Granta Books. ISBN A1-86207-796-7A.